Welcome to the Learning Activity 12. We're going to use a Firestore database to do a simple app. This comes from a video that's posted on the internet about retrieving and storing data from Firebase. The video has some issues, but I like the basic code and idea, so I just borrowed it for this. You should download this project from GitHub here, and then go into, Android Studio, do a new project from version control, paste your URL up there, and clone this project down here. I've got that here. You can run the basic app. It should work. It works. It's simply a list of to-do items here. Actually use something similar on my phone called Google Keep to do like a shopping list. So it's similar idea here. So again, you can add a name up here. So maybe we want to get some bread today. Add that to our list. Maybe we want to also add some milk. So every time when you hit this button, it adds the item to the database and clears out this little text field. Adds things here to our list of items, and then if you click on them, it'll delete them. So a simple list of items. So let's look at the app, and it's set up. The main thing it does is have a list of string items and store things into this array of string items. The layout is, let's go back to here. So we have a material app, and then we have a large column, and then this is a row here. We have a little space here, and then this is a list view here. So if we look at our app here, our setup, we're in the stateful widget here, and the state of it and our build method. We're creating a scaffolding here, and for the body, we're to have a column, the main column, and then the children here and the rows. Now this gets quite long here, so this is actually all the stuff for the input stuff at the bottom, this little space, and then this is the list view. So what we're going to do in step 0 here is break this app up into smaller apps for us to use. So we're going to create an initial app here for this input items, the item input stuff. So again, inside our scaffolding in our column, we have some children. Then we have a row for the input items. I'm going to take that whole row code and make it into another widget. Now there's a couple ways of doing widgets. You can create them as a separate widget class or a separate widget function. We're going to use widget functions here because we want to share this data between this. And if we have it in separate classes, it gets complicated. You have to use a provider and stuff to share data between different classes generally. So I'm just going to declare a new function or method up here that's going to return a widget. I'm going to call it, it's going to be used for the item input. So I'm just going to call item input widget, no parameters. And then we're just going to return a widget, so I'm going to type in return. Now, I'm just going to go back here in the code and find this whole row here that is that whole item. Here, go down all the way to the end of that row. I'm going to leave that comma there and copy that out. Here and post all that code up after the return. Now since I started with a return here, at the end of a return I need a semicolon. So after this I need to put in a semicolon. But this should be my whole widget then. And now I can take where I took that code, I can copy this out, go down here where I cut it out and paste this in here. So now I can replace that section with this call to input widget, which does this. Okay, so I want to do the same thing for the list view here, which is in an expanded field. There are some issues with list views which are resizable items inside like a column or another widget, and so often we have to put them inside an expanded view for that. So that's what this is doing. This is my list view. I'm going to create another widget up here function. And I'm just going to call it an item list widget. It'll display the list of my items. And again, I'm just going to return a value here And I'm going to go back in here with my children, the expanded widget here, grab that, scroll all the way down to the end of the expanded widget. Oops, I didn't quite get that right. Hold down. Okay, grab all that, paste that up here under my return. I need a semicolon at the end since this is a return statement. There, I've got that. So this is an item list widget. I'm going to stick that in here. What I like about this now is that this makes this main widget much more simpler. I have a column, it has children, and then each child is on its own line, so I can quickly see the children here. And then I can modify each of these widgets above here. So similarly, we're going to break these widgets up into smaller widgets still if we want. These aren't that bad, but just to go through this. In this this row, this input thing, we have the button, and then we have this text field. We're going to break those up into two separate things. So again, we have a row with children, and I'm going to bring the children up into separate widgets. So we're going to do a widget. I'm going to have the name text field widget as one of my widgets. Okay, so under my row, under the children, this size box has all this stuff in it for that widget. So I'm going to take that out and put that up here and just copy that in and put it in here. I've got my semicolon in here. It's showing me that error. Okay. And similarly, we've got this button, which is inside a size box also. So I'm going to choose that. Now, this author, where we got this code from, uses size box to do a lot of formatting, which isn't the best option often. There's something called a flex widget that's often better for this. But I just let this code be the way it is, just so you can see how some people format their layout here. Okay, so this is our add button. So this is all of this stuff. Put my semicolon here, and then grab that add button and put it in here. I'm going to switch this widget so it's all on one line because it's just a size box for some spacing between them here. Okay, so again, we have a row with children, and then we have the different children each on their own line here for us. So, okay, so that breaks it up there. Now, the other thing I think I'm going to do is just to show you something, and this is going to require parameters. So we have our list view builder, and then inside that is a list tile. I'm going to pull this list tile out into its own method. Its own, function or method here. Item tile widget. Now make sure you put your returns in here, otherwise you'll get some problems. Like here, I forgot to put in a return, and I would get an error. It would run this, but it would actually return. It would return null, and so I'll get an error that some value is null in here. So make sure you put in your returns in your widgets. I've forgotten those before. Okay, so here's my return. Now I'm going to grab again this list tile class in here. Grab that out of there and put that up here for us. And then we're just going to say that this is down here. Okay, so we've got our basic layout. Now, one thing, notice I did this, I pulled this out, but put it up here. But inside the list builder, we have a position, and we need that inside this tile widget. So we're going to need to send that up as a parameter. So I'm going to pass the position here, because this widget is actually created run multiple times because we're in a list builder. For each item in the list, it is calling this stuff. Oh, this widget, creating these widgets over and over again. And so I'm passing the position up here. So I'm going to have that up here. Now, Now, since Dart is dynamically typed, I can just type in int here. Now, I could say int position if I want and say that's an integer, but it's not actually needed because Dart will figure out what's the data type of that object fine. So I can just say position there and position here and pass those up for that. Okay, so now you should check to make sure this still works. It should still run correctly. So again, I should be able to add data to the list here and then take data items by just clicking on them to get rid of them. Okay, so that ends step 0. We've just broken this file into nice little sub-widgets. And again, one of the reasons we do this is that these widgets are all in this class here, and so they're all sharing this one class variable, this item list. It's used in multiple places. It's used here. It's used here, here, and here throughout this. Now, you can put these, I tend to put these subclasses above the main class here. You can put them below. They just have to be within this, this state class method. So if I want to put them after this, I would put them down here. After this build widget, I would have another widget down here. So you can put them wherever you want. Okay.